Hey everyone, and welcome back to Automation. So I gotta preface this video by saying that this is my backup idea. I had previously come up with something that I was gonna do today. I sit down here, I'm like, yes, and then I look into it a little bit more and I'm like, that is probably the worst idea I've ever come up with. So we're going to do the second worst idea I've ever come up with, which is going to be making a very low horsepower car and then attempting to tow something heavy with it. Possibly with some gearing to kind of mix it up and make it actually possible. We'll see how this goes. But before we get into that, I just wanted to say thank you to those who've supported my channel by buying a sticker on my website, automotiveflux.com. They're currently on sale for, well, I'm doubling the orders, so they're half price. I've been to the post office a few times this week mailing out letters. I had to go get more stamps and more materials for the actual packaging of the stickers, and the support on this has been overwhelming, so thank you for that. I still have a lot of stickers left. I have way too many, so if you want to check them out, they're at automotiveflux.com. They're $7 for two, and that's Canadian dollars, free shipping, and that's worldwide as well. They've been going all over the place. I just shipped one the other day going to Australia, to give you an example. I had one before that to Slovakia, all over the place. So yeah, get yours today. Back in automation, it's important that I note some of the past builds, because the last one, the Dodge Hemi Grand Caravan thing, was surprisingly popular, and it's gotten me thinking about more of these types of things. This, I don't know, this is a little bit out there. I've done something similar to this before where I made a vehicle that had 100 horsepower, but this time I'm going to bring the level down a little bit. We're going to go for 15 horsepower. Yes, 15 horsepower. But I'm not going to limit myself on engine size, I'm not going to limit myself on torque, it's just going to be 15 horsepower max. Now if I want this to tow the best, the thing that I should be doing is making it out of carbon fiber. And I mean, having a carbon fiber ladder chassis is very, very strange, which is why it won't let us do it. We're forced to use steel. I guess, yeah, we could go monocoque for a truck, but that's just strange. Okay, you know what? For now, we're going to go steel, ladder steel, just realistic, with a longitudinal engine in the front, and coils in the front, and we'll do leafs on the back. That's sort of a classic towing setup. We could also do leafs on the front. Maybe I'll go with that instead. I think this is a really interesting dynamic because limiting power means that you have a lot of other options everywhere else. And sometimes, and especially we explore this in showcases, limiting certain things allows a lot more creativity in other areas. I've done something before, and I'll link it below just so you can see it, but I made a go-kart showcase where the vehicles, I think it was 25 horsepower was the highest, but that was pretty much it. So you could go with a big engine if you want, you can go small engine for weight. Big engines have better torque, so that was sort of the trade-off. I mean, you could turbocharge it if you wanted to try and get a little bit extra torque out of it, but it all had to be in that like low-end stuff, which is very strange. And I don't know, it's just kind of a cool concept. So we're going to explore that a little bit today. So my first thought was to do an inline six, because these tend to have a really good balance between power and torque. The vehicle that I'm making so far is already way too heavy, but part of the challenge is going to be lugging its own weight as well as added weight, and I'm very curious to see what it'll actually do. So we'll just go for a cast block. Now the displacement is interesting because I may have to shrink it in order to actually get 15 horsepower. Otherwise I'm going to have to do like a ridiculous exhaust restriction or something to be able to get it down that low. But for now we'll just leave it as a square 3 liter. So it's a 3 liter inline 6 push rod, I guess. We want torque more than anything. So yeah, max RPM doesn't really matter. Just push rod with cast heads as well. Very beefy engine. All this stuff we're not going to need. And okay, this is where things get interesting. I don't think I'm going to turbocharge it. Probably going to avoid that. Carburetor or injection? I think I'm going to go multi-point EFI. And we'll just run regular fuel. I'm very curious to see sort of where this ends up. We're not going to need much for headers. And yeah, I don't know. Do we need anything here? Let's just put a baffled muffler on it. And the crank has exploded. That's always a good start. Funnily enough, the crank can only go up to 4,200 RPM, which is not very much. I don't really want to limit the RPM limit, although if we have it super low, we can get close to our goal. I am hoping to be able to do at least a little bit. 4,200 is not much. Okay, I managed to get it down to 22.5 horsepower with 147 newton meters of torque. That's actually quite a lot of torque, but you can see that things are not ideal. We're basically, well, the exhaust is very restrictive, but we're knocking heavily because I guess it's just a little bit too lean at the top end. And if I get rid of the RPM limit, then yeah, we're down to 2,000 RPM max, 22.5 horsepower. Wow. Making such a big engine have no power is turning out to be very, very interesting. Turning up the springs and lifters actually decreases power in this case because we don't really need very stiff springs. So I'm just going to keep that down because it increases our torque. I guess we'll just put it down all the way. 160 newton meters at 700 RPM. Pretty good considering. We're kind of getting to the point where I'm going to have to make some quality adjustments in order for this to actually work, because at the moment I have everything quite restricted and we're still too high. Okay, it seems like it might actually not be possible to do 15 horsepower because this is low quality everything and we're currently making 18 horsepower. Yeah, maybe a turbo should be involved in this. This is the most anemic inline six ever created, but I mean, the torque still isn't bad. 600 RPM, which is the minimum, that's basically on idle. But we lose it as we get up higher in the rev range. It's going to be such a weird driving thing. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to say 15, because obviously we're not getting 15 at this point. Let's do 20. Okay, 20.1 horsepower at 1,300 RPM. 700 RPM is our highest torque, and that's 140.3 newton meters. Let's see what this thing can do. There's not much. Oh, this is going to be good. Okay, so I believe, okay, this used to be the case. I'm not sure if things have changed or not, but fixtures used to add weight in BeamNG. Do they still do that? People knowledgeable on the subject, please let me know. So that being said, I'm going to try not to add too much here. We're just going to go for the most basic of things. Just kind of make it look like a truck, I guess. Nothing too crazy. This is a 65 body, I believe, so I'll do my best to try and make it look that kind of authentic. Although, to be honest with you, I have no idea what these look like. I might just have to look it up. Okay, so I've decided to give it a bit of a tray at the back just because I thought that would be cool. And yeah, now it's got a tray. So I'm going to style this after a Ford, even though it could be a Chevy. I have no idea. Just very roughly, just to try and get something slapped on there. Because I'm very eager to figure out what this 15, actually 20 horsepower thing can do. Okay, I think I've got most of the details down. We still need an exhaust, and I'm not going to do an interior on this one just so we can get this out quicker. But yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, I put Fjord in there, and this is a bit of a confusing badge for those of you who are on my Discord, but things are moving along, and I completely forgot the rear end. Okay, I think I finally have it sorted. There's been a few weird bugs with this one, mainly with the chassis hiding and then the engine not appearing and just a bunch of random stuff. I went through most of I basically finished the entire build. But the back end is finished as well. We now have a trailer hitch, which is extremely important for our tow vehicle. If it can actually tow anything, we'll find out soon. 3 rear lights, we got top lights, we got a hitch here. This is a little bit of a unique setup. Basically, it's a, I guess, 5th wheel style hitch. I'm pretty sure I have this correctly oriented. I don't know anything about these, but I put a little trailer hitch on the inside, so theoretically, we should be able to connect to a trailer with it in BeamNG. I've never tried that before, but I want to see if it actually works. I think this truck has some real potential. I think overall it looks pretty decent. I even tried to do like a little exhaust piece here, which runs the entire length of the body underneath the frame rails. Also, there's a big hole in this because the chassis is hidden, but yeah, I would like to revisit this one at some point, maybe on a stream, and just try to fully detail it, because it looks pretty good from the surface at the very least. So in terms of other specs, it's kind of important to nail this stuff, so that's exactly what I'm doing. We've got rear wheel drive. I'm going manual so I can shift it myself. This is not realistic, but it is, for the sake of this build, I think, a necessity. Don't forget, I am doing this in 2020, so we're not in 1965, other than the styling. So we're going for 7 speeds. It says it'll do 104. We'll have to see if that's actually possible. Open diffs, but the spacing at the absolute highest, because I want to be able to shift as soon as possible here. It's going to be very difficult to get through first gear, I think, especially when we're pulling something. So that's why first gear is actually only 12 kilometers an hour. If we have this lower, then it gets up to 17 kilometers an hour. I need to be able to fly through those gears, and doing so at very short ratios. It's going to be an interesting thing to see this roll. So for wheels, I've just gone for radials, medium compound. I didn't want to get too aggressive with this. Pretty significant offset in the front and the back, 135 on both now. I think that's decent. Before they were like way on the inside and it just doesn't look quite right. 210s, very thin, but I hope that that'll be decent enough. They're not going to burst when we pull something, and they're hopefully not going to be too much like width. Probably too small for truck wheels, but it looks good on this body. So I just put drum brakes in the front and the back. I never do this, so I figure, you know what, let's give it a try and see what happens. It might not be enough. It's saying that it's underpowered. Well, okay, that's to be expected, but I don't think the brakes are going to be too much of an issue. We don't need much. Aerodynamics, you can see we're actually making a little bit of uplift there. Don't particularly care about that at all with this build. Front seat is just a bench seat, basic interior, no entertainment. Just really, really basic stuff. 1940s, no safety, to try and get the weight down a little bit. So it's a realistic chassis, but then everything else is just kind of nah. I'm going to give it a utility preset for the suspension, which is also going to set us seemingly as low as possible, although this thing can be jacked up to the max. That is a tall boy. So something I'm going to do really quick is I'm just going to make the rear suspension a little bit higher. Just 3 points there, just so it's got a little bit of lift on the front, or a little bit of lift on the back, and then a touch down on the front. Just because I want it to be in that sort of towing stance. We'll see if that's too high for any like real trailers, but I don't know. It looks okay for now. So it's 1916 kilos, actually not much. 20 horsepower, oh boy. Let's try it in BeamNG and see if this thing actually moves. Okay, maiden voyage time. Let's see what this thing will do. Oh. Okay, it moves. That's a good sign, in reverse at least. First gear, and well, we have something. Second gear, third gear. This thing makes literally no noise. It is dead silent. Okay, I'm in fourth and I'm doing 38 kilometers an hour. We're definitely not getting anywhere in terms of speed, but at least it's working. I mean, I'm going to consider that to be a bonus. The fact that it drives is at least a good start to this challenge. Okay, next attempt, keeping in mind it is rear-wheel drive, so traction, I don't know, it doesn't really exist. Let's see if we can't just climb up this thing in BeamNG here, just a little bit of an incline, and I'll try to do it in, I guess, first gear. I didn't give it any four-wheel drive gearbox or anything like that, which would have given us low range. That would probably be helpful for this, but, I mean, we can make it without any issues. Surprising. I'm going to try from a dead stop, and oh, the torque is prevailing. Okay, let's do that again, but with a trailer. Okay, so I've gone ahead and spawned a few things. We have a very heavy trailer with wood on it, a completely empty flatbed fifth wheel style trailer, and then an empty trailer over there as well, plus a weight pad and a very heavy fuel trailer so that we can actually weigh how much this thing is, as well as all the rest of the stuff that we're carrying at the same time. Now, just to put it in perspective, first gear is still super short. I'm actually very happy that I did that. I don't think this thing would go without that setup. But just to put it in perspective, this vehicle weighs about as much as it says it does. 2,024 kilos? Pretty good. That's nearly 5,000 pounds. Considering it has a big steel tray, that's actually not too bad. Let's start off with what I believe to be the lightest of this group. It is the travel trailer. I don't think we're going to have any trouble with this, but I don't really know. The more weight that we add, the more dangerous this thing's going to get. Oh, look at that. The hitch on the top there is live, which is a good sign. But I'm going to attempt to hitch onto the bottom of this and see what happens. Easy. Okay. And actually no problems at all pulling this. Yeah, I kind of figured it wouldn't be much of an issue. If anything, we actually need a little bit more tongue length. This is a little bit short for making sharper turns, but overall, actually, not bad. Let's go up that little slope, and then we'll weigh this. Actually, we should probably weigh it first, just so I know how much it is. Third gear is a pretty good sweet spot. Keep in mind, by the way, that like 20 horsepower, a lot of torque, but I'm barely going 30 kilometers an hour most of the time. That's not even enough for like public roads. That's not safe at all. Okay, so we'll weigh them like this. That's the back wheels of the truck, and the trailer itself is 1,827 total. So yeah, not bad as a combination. Weighing them together the best that I can. Obviously, this is a short weight pad, so it's a bad idea to try and weigh long things, but 3,000 kilos. It seems that this trailer weighs approximately 800 kilos, something like that, so it's quite light in the grand scheme of things. Practicing my trailer skills in BeamNG, you know how it goes. Oh no, I'm gonna hit the utility trailer here. Okay, incline. Oh, I suck. Okay, hitting the incline, and yeah, we can still accelerate even in second gear, although barely, and now we're decelerating. I just want to stop here and try that first gear thing again. And yes, we do have enough torque to pull it all the way up. And just for fun, I'm going to drop it off the back because that's what you do with these trailers. They suck. That's what Top Gear taught me. Okay, let's attempt the gooseneck trailer because I'm interested to see if I can't just hook up to it. I don't know if this is possible for automation vehicles. I've never tried it, but I'm curious. And that's why I put this piece on here. Okay, making my way downtown. We're a little bit short for it, honestly. Just a little bit. And I don't see any node attachment there. Okay, I'm doing my best to line it up, but I don't think that this trailer in particular wants to connect to my truck, so that's a bit of a wash. Let's do something a little bit heavier. This is 2,100 kilos of wood on a utility trailer, and see if I can't just hook up to that and still move. As you may remember from my scaling before, this trailer weighs theoretically as much as the truck does, and actually no problem at all. It's basically a tractor. Now I remember on my previous video doing something similar to this with a fire truck that somebody was like, well, of course it works. And I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's good that it works. With the right kind of gearing, you can run like basically no power at all, and you shouldn't have any problems towing things. That's how tractors work. That's how heavy machinery works. Most of it does not have a lot of power, but it tends to work at its job just fine. So by the way, that is 3,650 kilos with the trailer and the truck back wheels. Pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna go for a little bit longer of a jaunt with this one. I want to see how this weight affects top speed. That's a lot of weight. Can we even get into third? That's a yes. Yeah, this gearing was not made for speed in the slightest. 20 kilometers an hour is like yard use, nothing else. 0 to 100, never. Yeah, never at this point. Okay, we're pretty much capping out at 32. Oh, it is raising just very, very slowly. It's gonna take like 500 kilometers before we actually reach top speed with this much weight. This thing is basically the exact opposite of a lot of the stuff that I make, because most of the stuff that I make is quite fast, whereas this is not fast at all. It very much is the opposite of fast. But I don't know, you can still have fun with slow cars, especially if they have a really dumb gimmick like 20 horsepower. I mean, the torque alone really saves this. If it didn't have that much torque, and it didn't have this short of gearing, it would not be able to do this. Okay, let's give it a rip up the hill. I'm going to go down into second. Oh, come on. Oh, okay, first gear. No, we're losing speed. You know what? It will make it. If we had a longer jaunt like this, it would definitely do it. Just at 7 kilometers an hour. You'd have people walking past you faster. Okay, first gear. Oh, it's struggling. Oh my goodness. Alright, I'm gonna consider that to be a win too. Basically a tractor pull coming up this. By the way, I've discovered it's faster in reverse in neutral. Okay, last but not least, let's grab this trailer here, and then I think we can probably try and haul something even larger. See if I can find something heavier in the group of trailers that I have. There's gotta be something. But we now have ourselves a heavy fuel trailer, although it actually feels a little bit lighter than the previous one. I think it's time that we threw it on the scale. Now, tongue weight is an important factor normally when you're towing stuff, but with this, it doesn't matter. Like, because we're, I don't know, the normal factors that you would associate with towing don't even apply to this. It's all about torque and the lack thereof. So this actually weighs a very similar amount to the previous one, and that kind of nullifies the testing a little bit because it's basically the same. 2-axle trailer, heavy weight in the center. Not as interesting as I thought it was going to be, so goodbye. We'll just let her go by herself. Oh, it feels so much more rapid without the burden of a trailer, my goodness. That is shockingly faster. Okay, so these are the trailers I have. The previous flatbed trailer came from here. You can see the tanker is here, and then the box trailer stuff is here. That previously was the heaviest weight I could do, 2,100 kilos of these ones. But we do have hay trailers, and potentially the heaviest of the heavy. This one has, from the looks of it, 12 things of hay on it. That should be plenty. And if we could do a gooseneck, we could do even more. Okay, so the hay doesn't actually have any texture, or the texture itself is missing, which is funny. It's a pretty old mod in BeamNG, so I guess that's why. But let's just go ahead and grab this trailer. I'm gonna do my best to pick it up without crashing into anything just yet. And I suspect that this will probably be the heaviest trailer that I can make. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's a little bit slower than it was before. Oh man. Okay, I want to just see how much this weighs. We'll just weigh the trailer by itself just to kind of get an idea of it, because the trailer itself is quite large, and then we'll take on this little slope and maybe drive this thing around, see what I can't do with it. Emphasis on the can't. Okay, first gear, and the trailer itself weighs 7,200 kilos. Oh my goodness. Yep, that's a little bit more than what we were dealing with before. And just out of curiosity, with the truck piece on there, not quite off the scales, we're looking at 8,200 kilos. That is double what we've been working with before. You know what the cool part about these ones is? There is also a hitch on the back. So you can theoretically hook up a lot of trailers to this, and I guess make yourself a road train. That being said, up the little slope we go if we can. Big torque for the win, boys. Let's see if this i6 can do it. Honestly, that instant, I think it was like 140 Newton meters of torque, is pretty much what's saving us, I think, with all of these. If we didn't have that, and we didn't have the short first gear, we wouldn't be going anywhere. But I have a theory. This thing would be even better with low range. Like, it would absolutely rip with low range, and I'm very interested to try that. So first gear, a tiny bit of momentum, not much, and oh, come on. No, it's not gonna do it. Yeah, you would need a serious amount of momentum to get up this, or possibly more gear reduction, because I don't think there's any way it's going to do it in this current state. Unfortunate though. Okay, big trailer is back on the hook, and oh, it really doesn't want to move right now. There you go, buddy. Come on, let's go for a tour while we wrap this video up. So there you have it, my worst idea, I guess. Worse than my previous bad idea. The previous bad idea was to feature a mod, but it turns out that mod is actually a lot more popular than I thought it was. I thought it was a bit more of an underground thing, and obviously not, which is fine. I have done it once before, but I did like a BeamNG mod feature thing, where I featured a mod from somebody in the Discord, and it was really cool, and I liked it, and I wanted to do it again, but not this time. I think instead, what we're gonna do is next week will be a very cool video if it does come out the way that I want it to. It's going to be Magnum Opus 4.0, so be sure to check that out. As always, be sure to subscribe to this channel if you liked this video and you want to see more videos like it. I have a ton of videos on these two games together, and if you like my style of cars and you like my creativity, then you're definitely going to be in the right place, so make sure to subscribe. And if you made it this far in the video, I think you probably liked the video. I find that about myself, where if I watch most of the video, I probably liked it, so I tend to leave a like, and I would hope that you do the same. Don't forget the Bugo stickers. If you want to help support me and my project cars and stuff, then be sure to purchase the rest of the stickers. I'm doubling the orders, so yeah, order 10, I'll give you 20. Anyway, guys, thank you a lot for your support. I appreciate it, and I will see you again soon. I got a video coming out on my second channel as well. There's too much advertising at the end of this. Let's wrap things up. I'm not going to be able to hit anything at any speed, but I'm going to try to hit this little ramp and flip the cart over. Come on. Come on. Oh, weight reduction. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that's how you do it, boys. See you again soon. It's time that I said thank you to those who have chosen to support this channel. I gotta shorten my exit intro a little bit because I feel like that went on for a little bit too long. A whole bunch of stuff to talk about. But this is one of those things that is a requirement, as said by me. Anyway, boys and grills, thank you for your support. I would like to thank Overlord, QT Bear, Terrio1, J Pope, Davis Heister, The German Dude, Nat64, Sinlab, Badger, Baja Blast, Trevor Cousin, Goofy Plays, Order of the Valiant, and Phoenix Shark. Thank you, everybody, for your support. I appreciate it a lot, and I will see you again next time.